Most men fail not because they lack desire, but because they misunderstand power. They chase affection where leverage is required, honesty where strategy is rewarded. In this video, we expose the brutal truth that destroys weak bonds and explains why attraction shifts the moment control is lost. I write not for those who seek comfort, but for those who seek clarity. Human desire is not governed by morality, but by advantage, not by promises, but by perception. What people call nature is simply behavior revealed under pressure. To understand love, loyalty, and departure, one must first abandon illusion and observe power as it truly operates in silence, absence, and consequence. You believe desire is born from honesty, effort, and good intentions. That belief ruins men quietly. Desire does not respond to what you mean, only to what you represent. Power, not purity, commands attention. Strength, not sincerity, shapes longing. History has never rewarded the well-intentioned, only the well-positioned. Look to the princes of old. A ruler who begged loyalty was abandoned. A ruler who embodied authority was followed even into ruin. People swear allegiance to certainty, not kindness. The same instinct governs attraction. You are not desired because you explain yourself. You are desired because you appear difficult to replace. Ask yourself this: when did attention increase? When you chased, or when you withdrew? When you justified, or when you remained silent? Desire sharpens around what feels solid, scarce, and unmovable. It evaporates around what pleads. Psychology confirms what history already knew. The mind is drawn to figures who signal control over their own emotions. Emotional independence is read as value. Emotional urgency is read as weakness. You may call this unfair. Nature does not care. Consider the general who panics before battle. His army senses it instantly. Morale collapses before the enemy strikes. Now consider the general who speaks little, moves deliberately, and appears prepared for loss. His soldiers follow because they believe he will survive even defeat. Desire mirrors this exact logic. When you overinvest, you signal fear of loss. Fear lowers status. Status loss weakens attraction. This is not cruelty. It is pattern recognition embedded in human behavior. People lean toward those who seem capable of walking away intact. You are taught to reveal your heart early, to prove your sincerity, to demonstrate commitment. Yet revelation without leverage dissolves mystery. Commitment without power becomes dependency. Dependency invites control, not desire. Think of the merchant who floods the market. His goods become cheap. Think of the ruler who gives gifts too freely. Gratitude fades, expectation grows. Scarcity maintains value. Excess destroys it. Desire follows the same economy. Observe how attention shifts when you stop explaining yourself. Silence creates interpretation. Interpretation creates intrigue. Intrigue awakens desire. Those who control the narrative control the bond. This is why intention fails. Intention is invisible. Power is visible. You may intend loyalty, but if you lack self-command, it is not believed. You may intend love, but if you cannot tolerate absence, it becomes pressure. There is a moment, often unnoticed, when balance tips. It is the moment you abandon your center to secure someone else. In that instant, desire senses collapse, not consciously, but instinctively. Attraction is an animal response wearing civilized language. It reads posture, patience, and restraint long before it hears words. Rome fell not only from invasion, but from internal decay. Authority weakened as leaders sought approval instead of obedience. The crowd turned restless. Loyalty dissolved. What applies to empires applies to intimacy. When leadership bends toward reassurance, respect erodes. When certainty vanishes, desire follows it into silence and distance. Ask again, honestly. Do people desire you more when you are needed, or when you are choosing, when you are available, or when you are occupied by your own mission? The answer has always been clear, even if it is uncomfortable. In court politics, alliances formed around those who could survive betrayal. In relationships, attachment forms around those who could survive abandonment. The same rule applies. Resilience attracts, fragility repels. This does not mean cruelty. It means discipline. Discipline over your reactions, discipline over your words, discipline over your need to be understood. Power begins where emotional self-regulation becomes visible. When you stop chasing validation, you become the standard. When you stop explaining yourself, others begin explaining you. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Master this principle, and you stop reacting to attraction because you become its source, its gravity, and its quiet center of command, without pleading, bargaining, or emotional exposure. You cannot negotiate desire. You can only embody conditions that allow it to grow. Control yourself, and others feel it. Lose control, and no argument will save you. In the next segment, we confront the currency of emotion itself and why feeling are never promises, only transactions waiting to be renegotiated. You believe emotion is sacred, a bond sealed by words and shared moments. That belief is costly. Emotion is not a vow, it is currency. It flows toward advantage and retreats from risk. Those who mistake feeling for contract are always surprised when the terms change. History shows this without mercy. Alliances between states were sworn with oaths, marriages and blood. Yet when fortunes shifted, sentiment evaporated overnight. Kings embraced yesterday's enemy because emotion followed survival. Loyalty was never personal, it was practical. You experience the same exchange, only dressed in romance. Affection increases when you provide excitement, certainty, or status. It weakens when you offer stability without power. Feelings rise where benefit is perceived. They fall where cost exceeds reward. Ask yourself why praise feels intoxicating at first, then routine. Why attention excites, then demands more. The mind adapts quickly to emotional profit. What once felt generous becomes expected. What was once thrilling becomes baseline. Emotion depreciates when oversupplied. Consider the courtier who flatters endlessly. At first he is welcomed. Soon he is ignored. His currency floods the room and loses value. The courtier who speaks rarely, whose approval is uncertain, commands attention. His emotional restraint increases demand. Modern psychology confirms this ancient pattern. Reinforcement strengthens behavior only when it is intermittent. Predictable reward numbs desire. Uncertain reward sharpens focus. The mind pursues what it cannot reliably secure. You are told to reassure, to confirm, to provide constant emotional proof. Yet, constant proof destroys leverage. When you guarantee affection, you remove its price. When you remove its price, its value collapses. This is why promises fail. A promise assumes permanence in a world governed by change. Emotion does not obey logic. It obeys incentive. The moment incentive shifts, feeling renegotiates its allegiance. Think of the soldier paid late. His loyalty weakens. Think of the merchant undercut by competitors. His partnerships dissolve. Emotion reacts the same way. It is loyal to outcome, not intention. You may protest. You may insist that love should be unconditional. But conditions exist whether named or denied. Attraction is conditional on respect. Respect is conditional on strength. Strength is conditional on self-control. Observe how emotions escalate during uncertainty. Distance increases longing. Silence increases interpretation. Absence increases perceived value. These are not accidents. They are market dynamics of feeling. Those who understand this do not argue for affection. They structure conditions where affection becomes profitable. They invest emotion strategically. They withdraw it deliberately. They never confuse warmth with obligation. There is manipulation here, yes, but manipulation already exists. The question is who controls it. Those unaware are controlled by it. Those aware decide when to spend and when to save. Recall how rulers distributed favors sparingly. Gifts given rarely inspired devotion. Gifts given freely bred contempt. Emotion follows the same law. Gratitude fades faster than expectation grows. When you overgive emotionally, you train others to devalue it. When you withdraw without explanation, you restore its weight. Silence recalibrates the exchange. Suddenly your presence costs something again. This truth unsettles those raised on fairness myths. They confuse moral worth with emotional leverage, yet nature separates the two cleanly. You may be good, generous, and sincere, and still be ignored. Value is not assigned by virtue. It is assigned by consequence, timing, and scarcity. This is not cruelty. It is economics of the psyche. Every interaction is an exchange, even when disguised as affection. The wise observe the ledger, the foolish trust the smile. Ask yourself now, when did attraction peak? When emotion was uncertain or guaranteed? When approval was earned or assumed? The answer reveals the truth you avoid. Once you see emotion as currency, you stop wasting it. You stop begging for returns. You stop mistaking feelings for promises. You begin negotiating from strength instead of hope. Remember this lesson, because forgetting it guarantees repetition, disappointment, and resentment, the quiet rewards of emotional illiteracy. Power respects discipline, not emotional generosity. Control the flow of emotion, and you control the relationship. Lose control, and you will be reminded that feelings are never owned, only rented. In the next segment, we confront scarcity itself, and why withdrawal, not pursuit, is the most persuasive weapon in human psychology. You believe control is proven through pursuit, through presence, through relentless reassurance. That belief weakens you. Control is not maintained by chasing, it is maintained by scarcity. What is always available is never respected. What can be withdrawn commands attention. History teaches this lesson with cruelty. A ruler who appeared daily among the crowd lost mystery and authority. His presence became ordinary. Another ruler appeared rarely, spoke little, and vanished often. His absence magnified his power. People feared losing access more than they feared punishment. You see the same pattern in desire. When you are always reachable, always agreeable, always present, your value flattens. There is no tension, no anticipation, no consequence. Desire survives on uncertainty, not reassurance. Ask yourself honestly, when did interest deepen? When you were distant, or when you hovered? When you were busy with purpose or waiting by the door? The answer has never changed, only your willingness to accept it. Scarcity is not disappearance. It is controlled access. It is choosing when to engage and when to withdraw. It is demonstrating that your time, attention, and energy are governed by you, not by demand. Consider the siege. A city does not fall because the walls are attacked daily. It falls when supplies are cut, when waiting exhausts the defenders, when uncertainty corrodes morale. Withdrawal weakens resistance more effectively than force. Psychology mirrors this strategy. Intermittent availability heightens dopamine. Predictable presence dulls it. The mind craves what it cannot secure on command. It loses interest in what requires no effort. This is why pursuit backfires. Pursuit signals imbalance. It reveals that you need resolution more than the other person does. Need shifts power. Power shifts attraction. You have felt this shift before. The moment you sent one message too many. The moment you waited anxiously for response. The moment your emotional state hinged on someone else's reply. In that moment, control left your hands. Those who understand scarcity do not threaten withdrawal. They embody it. They do not announce distance. They allow it. Silence becomes signal. Absence becomes statement. Look to the marketplace. Goods priced too low are assumed defective. Goods too available are ignored. Exclusivity creates demand. Access defines worth. This applies not only to attention, but to emotion. When you offer unlimited emotional access, it loses gravity. When you regulate it, others lean in, not because you are cruel, but because value has boundaries. You may confuse scarcity with games. It is not a trick. It is alignment with reality. Your life must be full enough that withdrawal is natural, not fabricated. Purpose creates scarcity effortlessly. A ruler obsessed with one alliance loses leverage. A ruler with many options negotiates calmly. In relationships, optionality creates composure. Composure creates authority. Notice how those with options rarely plead. They choose. Choice is power. Power attracts. This is why explanations weaken you. Explaining your absence removes its effect. Mystery fuels imagination. Imagination fuels desire. Transparency without leverage kills intrigue. You are told to communicate constantly, to clarify everything, to eliminate uncertainty. Yet uncertainty is the engine of fascination. Remove it entirely and the bond stagnates. Scarcity also tests loyalty. Those who remain engaged without constant reinforcement reveal genuine interest. Those who vanish were never invested. Withdrawal reveals truth faster than interrogation. This principle frightens people because it demands self-sufficiency. If you cannot tolerate silence, you cannot wield it. If you fear loss, you cannot use distance. But power has always required risk. Princes risked rebellion by withholding favors. Generals risked morale by delaying orders. Yet those who mastered timing won wars. Master timing in your interactions. Arrive late. Leave early. Speak when necessary. Withhold when useful, not to manipulate blindly, but to preserve authority over yourself. Control is not dominance over others. It is sovereignty over your availability. Once you command that, attention reorganizes around you naturally. Remember this well. The one who needs less controls more. Without this discipline, every connection decays into negotiation, resentment, and quiet boredom, because nothing collapses attraction faster than availability without consequence or presence, without purpose, that teaches others you will remain accessible. In the final segment, we confront respect itself, and why attachment collapses the moment respect quietly disappears. Attachment survives only where respect lives. Love without respect decays into habit, tolerance, and quiet contempt. History proves this endlessly. Subjects loved generous rulers, but obeyed only strong ones. When strength faded, affection turned to ridicule. Desire follows the same path, obeying authority long after sentiment collapses silently without mercy. You are taught that kindness sustains bonds. It does not. Kindness earns access only when backed by authority. Without it, kindness becomes permission to ignore, test, and slowly erode boundaries. Ask yourself who receives loyalty, the one who pleases, or the one whose displeasure carries consequence in every human exchange. Respect is not admiration. It is acknowledgement of strength. Roman senators flattered emperors they despised, yet trembled before those capable of decisive punishment. Fear was not hatred. It was recognition of power. Where fear vanished, conspiracies multiplied, blades sharpened, and loyalty dissolved. Overnight, without warning, mercy, hesitation, restraint, pause, delay. In relationships, respect operates the same way. It is born from consistency, boundaries, and self-command. The moment you tolerate disrespect to preserve peace, you announce weakness. Weakness invites testing. Testing escalates until attraction suffocates beneath disappointment you pretend not to see, while remaining silent, compliant, agreeable, patient, hopeful, powerless. Psychology confirms this ruthlessly. People attach to those who regulate themselves. Emotional volatility erodes credibility. When your reactions are predictable, you are manageable. When they are disciplined, you are respected. Respect grows where others cannot easily provoke, rush, or destabilize you. Through pressure, insult, temptation, chaos, urgency, demand, threat, loss. This is why appeasement fails. Appeasement signals fear of conflict. Fear transfers authority to the other. Authority imbalance kills desire. History punished leaders who sought harmony over dominance. Their concessions invited rebellion, not gratitude, and their kindness became the justification for overthrow by rivals, allies, friends, enemies, mobs, courts, followers. You may believe respect requires intimidation alone. It does not. Respect requires boundaries enforced without drama. The quiet certainty that consequences exist. The knowledge that access can be revoked. Calm enforcement outlasts rage. Silence backed by action reshapes behavior permanently across time. Memory, pattern, habit, expectation, culture, perception, loyalty, attachment. Observe how respect disappears gradually. First excuses appear. Then delays, then diminished effort. Finally, indifference. No dramatic betrayal, only erosion. By the time words fail, power has already shifted. Respect left long before love followed it out the door. Unnoticed, unchallenged, tolerated, normalized, repeated, justified, rationalized, excused, accepted, internalized, sealed. This is why self-respect is foundational. If you abandon it to keep someone close, you teach them how to treat you. People rarely rise to expectations, they sink to permission. What you allow becomes the rule that governs attachment and erodes desire slowly, predictably, relentlessly, quietly, invisibly, daily, forever. Rulers understood this truth. They cultivated an image of fairness, yet preserved fear beneath it. As Machiavelli observed, being loved is fragile when fear disappears. Respect stabilizes affection. Fear enforces respect. Remove both, and loyalty collapses into convenience, opportunism, calculation, survival, boredom, indifference, distance, silence, resentment, neglect, exit, replacement, abandonment. In your own life, respect begins with refusal. Refusal to tolerate disregard. Refusal to chase those who diminish you. Refusal to explain boundaries endlessly. Each refusal sharpens identity. Identity commands respect. Without it, attraction decays regardless of history shared together, promised, remembered, romanticized, cherished, defended, narrated, repeated, justified, mourned, forgotten. Understand this clearly. Attachment cannot survive contempt. Contempt grows where respect is absent. Once it appears, words cannot remove it. Only consequences can. And consequences require strength, not pleading, not apology, not explanation, but resolve, discipline, action, consistency, enforcement, distance, firmness, calm, authority, patience, restraint, self-command, composure, gravity, presence, consequence. When you embody this, dynamics shift. Conversations change tone. Testing decreases. Attraction stabilizes. You are no longer negotiating worth, you are presenting it. Respect transforms attachment from fragile emotion into durable alignment of interest and power-grounded, balanced, stable, intentional, controlled, enduring, resilient, measured, deliberate, composed, formidable, authoritative, centered, complete. Remember this final law. Desire follows respect. Respect follows strength. Strength begins with self-command. Lose it, and every bond erodes. Master it, and attachment reorganizes itself around you. What comes next explains why fear, carefully applied, preserves respect without cruelty, excess, chaos, tyranny, panic, noise, violence, spectacle, collapse, warning. You now see what most never notice. Control is rarely seized. It is granted. People follow the hand that appears steady, not the voice that begs. They submit to those who govern themselves first. You do not dominate by force. You dominate by shaping perception, by regulating your presence, by rationing emotion, by enforcing boundaries without noise. Ask yourself, who truly holds power, the one who reacts or the one who waits, the one who explains or the one who acts, the one who needs approval or the one who can walk away untouched? This is the quiet architecture of influence. No threats, no drama, only structure, discipline, and consequence. Most people reveal their weakness too quickly. You now understand why silence weighs more than words, why scarcity commands attention, why respect anchors desire. Use this knowledge carefully. Power mishandled destroys its holder first. If this unsettled you, it should have. Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more Machiavellian psychology and strategy, and share this video with those still ruled by illusion rather than control. Power favors the prepared.